Hi, everybody. So glad to have all of you back today. My name is Ruham Manzoor, and I'm the managing partner of Maces. I'm especially happy today because our show is a little different today because normally when I do this show, I'm sitting in freezing Toronto, but today I'm back and so ready to take everything up. And today I'm with one of my old friends and university partners, Mr. Anthony Culver from Fraser International College, which does the pathways for Simon Fraser University. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I am also not sitting in freezing Toronto. I'm sitting in beautiful Vancouver and loving it right now. Yeah, happy to be here
I
though,
mean,
Rohan.
it is. I must say, when he says beautiful Vancouver, I mean he's not joking. I mean it is, hills and green and mountains and all of that. So, what a beautiful place to be. So you are sitting in Vancouver right now,
Yes,
Anthony. How long have you been working with FIC? Introduce yourself. Like,
for
what you do
sure.
there.
Yeah, my name is Anthony Culver. I'm the Associate Director, Marketing and Recruitment for Fraser International College, and I've been with Fraser International College for approximately 5 years now. Absolutely loved it. And the reason I chose to work with FIC is because I actually graduated from Simon Fraser University myself. Really loved the education, the culture, everything around these opportunities. And Vancouver being my hometown, I like to think it's the most beautiful city in all of Canada. It is very similar to Chittagong, if you can imagine that. And I get to talk to you guys. I get to talk to new students, listen to your goals, what you are hoping to do, and then figure out a way that FIC can support you because that is, at the end of the day, what we are all about. We want to work with you, we want to make sure your goals are met and achieved, and we want to help you get into Simon Fraser University, that number one comprehensive university in Canada.
I must say this that he says it's like Chittagong. I think when he visited Chittagong, he didn't face the traffic jam that we usually face. So, Anthony, thank you very much for that. It was a good introduction. We also have with us Aryan Kabir, who is currently a student. Are you a student of FIC or Simon Fraser, Aryan? Introduce yourself. You're muted, I think. Okay, so we're having audio issues with Aryan while he tries to get that fixed. Aryan, hopefully you can, go into your cam or mic settings and get that sorted. That's why we asked you to come a little earlier. But anyway, Anthony, so tell me, how's the weather like now?
Well, you've chosen a rough day to ask because it is raining right now, but this past week it has been gorgeous. It's been sunny, it's been warm, it's been quite enjoyable. And so when we talk about Vancouver, it is the city that really doesn't experience that Canadian winter. And
Hello.
so, yeah,
Hello.
we can hear you, Aryan.
Hello.
Aryan, you're back. Aryan, you're back.
I'm here.
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, yes. So, yeah,
I'm in.
Anthony,
Yeah, so Vancouver is that city that doesn't experience the Canadian winter. It is a lot more mild in its temperature. And we have those local mountains, so you get to enjoy the winter and those extreme sports up there. But within the city, we're happy to have temperatures that are a lot more mild and reasonable. Like
I'm sure you're going
negative
to cover
two
that in
is
your
extreme,
presentation.
of course.
So I think there is a slight delay. Aryan, introduce yourself. Like, are you a student of Simon Fraser or
Yeah.
FIC? What program you're in? Just general introduction.
All right. Thank you for having me here, Ruham. My name is Aryan Kabir. I'm a student at SFU currently. I used to be a student at FIC. I transferred about a year ago. and life has not been the same. With my journey here to Canada, I first came here to study business at FIC, Business Administration, and then I shifted to communications and transferred to SFU. I feel like one of my best decisions to come to Canada was based on this as well, because I when I first came here, I didn't finish my high school per se. I wanted to directly jump into my college and university degree, and with that, I started off with FIC and then ultimately SFU.
Oh, great! So you did the UTB Stage 1.
Yes, I did. I did every part of FIC. I could say almost every part of FIC. You get you.
That's awesome, because that is going to be very important for students, because the reason behind that decision, I think, is important for people to understand, because a lot of times they don't understand that. Anthony, with that, maybe we can move to you. Perhaps you could. So the way we have done this is we're going to give a presentation. I mean, Anthony is going to cover the Fraser International College, its location, and the key points. And then we will leave to the guests, the audience, to ask questions. So once the questions come in, I think that's when we are going to take a lot more information from Aryan, who can share the expertise about his experience. So Anthony, you want to share your screen?
Perfect, of course.
Uncomfortable silence, or is it a comfortable silence when we wait for the screen to be shared? Yeah, Aryan, like, you're studying business, right? So you're in your second. Oh, here we go. I think we've got it. Here.
There we go. Yeah. Perfect. I know there's always that pressure to share the screen within like 2 seconds, and it took me a few more seconds. So thank you for the patience there. Yeah, I get to represent Fraser International College, that college on the campus of Simon Fraser University. And we talked for just a few seconds at the beginning about Vancouver and what's going on here. To me, this is an amazing city. Regardless of who you are or what you like, you're going to find something fun in Vancouver. And we've got a couple different pictures up of, really, these are my favorite things. But that bottom left and top right, Gastown and Granville Island, if you're a foodie like me, you're going to fall in love with Vancouver. These are two of the better neighborhoods to be exploring food, but it doesn't stop with these two. And the fun thing is, with Vancouver food scene, you've got your halal, you've got your vegan, you've got your vegetarian, you've got each and everything, and you've got them in different styles as well. So if you want to try out Japanese food or Chinese food, or food from Colombia even, you're going to have a range of different options, everywhere from your very fancy to your very mom and pop style stores. And then you've also got the Vancouver North Shore Mountains and Stanley Park. And we like being outside. I think that's a big thing for us. We love adventure. We like being in nature. And we like it because it doesn't get that cold in Vancouver. So yes, we'll get a bit of snow. But I call it selfie snow because it kind of snows, it comes, and really we get this much. You make a snowman, you have a snowball fight, you get some great pictures, and then the snow stays in the mountains around us. It doesn't come into the city. And that's one reason why when we talk about it, Vancouver is such a more hospitable climate to everyone, really. Now let's talk about the university. It was founded in 1967, I believe, and it is that #1 comprehensive university. It's got around 36,000 students on that university campus. So it is definitely, in Canada, a medium-sized university. Not too big, not too small, but checking it out, 150 different programs, which is outrageous. And one thing SFU has always been proud of is its quality. Its quality of education, its quality in each and every part. They don't open up a new program unless they know that they can really invest the resources, the funding to make it worth your time. And so one of my favorite rankings is that one in the middle, Number 2 for faculty research impact. It means that SFU professors are doing research, they're publishing it, and that's the same as everyone across Canada. That's why people are professors. But at SFU, they're publishing information at such a high level that different businesses, governments, organizations are actually reading that information and making decisions out of it. And so when you walk into an SFU classroom, you're getting that cutting edge knowledge. You're getting the front of market experience being brought to you, and you get to learn from that. And I mean, there's amazing other rankings there we could dive into. I believe 4 of SFU's 8 faculties are all ranked within the top 150 for their programs globally. So there's a lot going on. And when we look at it, these are the programs. These are the ones we are looking at here. You'll find everything from engineering and computing sciences in the top right-hand corner. And within those, you're getting that mechatronics engineering, you're getting computing engineering, physics, really anything with a chip. We like to say that, anything with a chip. But then it expands out from there. And if you know about Canadian education, you'll probably be familiar with that BD School of Business, because it is one of a kind. It is unique and it is quality. But it keeps going. Communication, art and technology, science, environment. Environment's an interesting one because really it's not just for people who love nature. It's for people with minds that are very analytic or business-minded people, because it's taking really the science from Faculty of Sciences, but it's also combining business and also political science with policy. And so it's a much more interesting faculty than I think people give it credit for. There is Faculty of Health Sciences and Education, but my favorite, of course, is Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. This is the one I graduated from when I was studying at SFU, and will always be my true love. So amazing options, but I want you guys to think about 2 things when it comes to this map. The first is the flexibility. So when a student is studying at SFU, their first year is within a faculty or within a program area if it's at FIC. That means that if you're coming for business, you're going to study finance, you're going to study accounting, international business, all of those things. And in your second year, you actually get to decide what your major is. And so that gives you some flexibility to try out different areas and decide which is the best fit for you. And then the other one is your major and minor, because your major could be in one area and your minor could be in another. I spoke with one student and they said, Anthony, I really want to do cybersecurity as a job. That's my dream job. And so we sat down and we looked at this map and we said, well, why don't you do a major in computing sciences and a minor in criminology down in Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences? And some students will be more business-minded. Maybe they're looking at finance in BD School of Business and something like data sciences, which is in Faculty of Science. And I mean, Aryan, I'm going to steal your thunder right now. You're doing communications and a minor in business. So you can start to mix and match however you want. Everything is possible. And this is brilliant because it is your degree. It is about your future job options. And really, we want you to be happy with what you are studying. We want you to be excited when you wake up. Now, at FIC, we offer kind of an entrance option. So when you finish high school, you can, of course, apply directly to SFU. They have incredibly high requirements. So the majority of international students at SFU actually start in Fraser International College. And that's where we come in. We offer stage 2 and stage 1. These are university transfer programs. So UTP stage 2 is equivalent to first year and it transfers into second year. So we're not adding any time there. And if you've done your A levels, you're applying for UTP stage 2. If you've done your O levels, like Aryan, you're applying for stage 1. It's an 8-month foundation program. It transfers into stage 2, and then from there you're going over to your second year at SFU. So either way, we're still looking at that 4-year bachelor degree, except we're giving you a lot more support proactively, smaller classes, and make things just a little smoother at FIC before you really transition to SFU and join those interesting things like co-op. And that transfer from FIC into SFU is guaranteed. It's on your letter of offer. Your seat at SFU is already waiting for you. You just need to get a GPA requirement. And so we can see it here. Business is a 3.2 out of 4.33. That is approximately a minus. You've got computing sciences, science, and engineering, which are 2.75, again, out of 4.33. That's looking now at a B average, and then everything else is a 2.5. Very achievable, really looking at a C plus average. And again, that is guaranteed. As long as you're getting this GPA in your 10 academic courses in UTP Stage 2, you're already at SFU. And this is how close we are. We are on that same campus. As an FIC student, you get to join SFU student clubs, you get to use the SFU residence and the resources. So that computer lab, the library, all of these things are accessible to you. You can even join one of the intramural teams and compete against other SFU students. But really, the culture is the same because you're getting that same campus. And the academics are the same because everything taught at FIC comes from SFU. And even the majority of our instructors for UTP Stage 2 come from SFU. You can use the SFU residence, and there's so much support when it comes to FIC. So there's a lot going on. I'm going to skip ahead because I want to talk about co-op. This is one of my favorite areas to talk about because with SFU, it has one of the largest and oldest co-op programs in all of North America. Every single student is eligible to apply for co-op regardless of what you are studying. And this is massive. So I'm going to say this again. Regardless of what program you're applying to, you can apply for co-op in your second year. Because really that hands-on experience is so crucial. We want you to graduate with work experience that is going to set you up to graduate and grab your dream job. And we've got some of our names of our partners from SFU. But really, this is a very small snapshot. There's a lot more going on, and these are the names that we know FIC students have transitioned into SFU and then worked for these companies. But the names not listed here, we send students to the Canadian government, to the United Nations. We send them to Fraser Health Institute, the body that is really overlooking Vancouver's options of the healthcare and hospitals. There are so many, and regardless of what faculty you are looking for, there is going to be quality. And it starts with the co-op option. And of course, we are located in Vancouver. If I haven't talked about this enough, I'm going to talk about it for a few more minutes because it is almost always ranked as one of the most livable cities in the world. We've got a population of 2 million, but that makes us the third largest city in Canada. It also makes us the regional hub for Western Canada. And so when we start to talk about that, we have the third largest port in all of North America. So our import-export is actually larger than Toronto. And because of that...
So this is a very good point because like a lot of people think that Toronto is, of course, the business hub. That's where all the jobs are and things like that. But Vancouver on its own can hold its own in many, many sectors. So I guess you can cover that a little bit because, I didn't know that until I visited that. Oh, whoa. Because everybody thinks that Toronto is the only big city, right?
Yeah, everyone thinks that. And they forget about us. They think we're a holiday town. They think we're beautiful, and that's it. There's a lot more going on in Vancouver. That import-export, massive, but we are also almost the twin of Toronto in terms of finance. If you want to be a major finance player in Canada, you need a head office in Vancouver because of how much business is going into Asia from Vancouver. It just makes sense. And with all that money floating around, the IT industry has just boomed. Amazon is working so hard to attract talent. It is actually still hiring after its last office expansion. But it goes beyond that. We have EA Games, we have IBM, we have Microsoft. Those ones do work with SFU, but that's really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the IT industry. Of course, hospitality is massive in Vancouver and it will bounce back. We used to have 1 million people arriving every single summer, just in July and August, via cruise boats. And that
So,
was,
I mean, one thing is that, a lot of people I know recently have moved to Vancouver because of all the job opportunities that Vancouver has to offer. And especially, like, I saw people, in the banking industry, I saw many people, especially like the modern, like anything that is new, any kind of job that is exciting is in Vancouver. Like, for example, sector, game development. A lot of these people are somehow attracted to Vancouver, and that's where all the jobs are. I know actually personally at least 3 people who did that. They got the job in Vancouver and
If
shifted.
I if I could jump in real quick, the way I
yeah,
describe Vancouver is it is if New York met Switzerland and it was together in one
Woo!
place. That's Vancouver right there.
I
Because
love
even
it.
the downtown area of Vancouver is like an island itself. It's a bustling island with a lot of commercialization going on in one place. And then right behind that island is a bunch of beautiful mountains, which you can travel to in like a couple of like half an hour or even 40 minutes. So it's within range of everything. Like you can do almost everything in
Mhm.
this city.
I think really like the way you described it. I mean, if New York met Switzerland, wow,
Yeah.
Anthony, that you can use that for your. You're gonna need to, Aryan, you're gonna need to copyright that. I don't know if you're studying
Yeah,
business or
I'm
not,
gonna put a
but
patent on it.
I think I
and
just
sell it to
wrote
the
that
city.
down quickly. Yeah, that's perfect. It really is that nature, that laid back, civilized. We enjoy our time and space. Um,
So,
yeah,
Anthony, we're gonna, because I'm conscious of time, we
yeah,
want to jump in a quick things like in order to get into the FIC. You mentioned 2 things. One is that
yeah,
you have the UDP stage 1, which is basically you've done your O levels and you want to get into university straight away. I think that's where the route that Aryan took, and then of course the UDP stage 2, where you've done your A levels, but maybe you have not met the direct entry requirement, or even if you have
mm,
met the direct entry requirement, you want to, as an international student, and this is something that I must say, when you're an international student going to a new place, it can be overwhelming. I mean, especially in the big universities, you've got 35,000 students. So in a freshman class, you're talking about classes where the average class size is 200, 300 students. And a lot of students could get lost in that. So when you go through institution like FIC, you can take your education and take in your environment in bite sizes. So, you're talking about class sizes that are 25 to 30 big. So your teacher knows every single student. You have that personal attention, and somebody's watching you. So, you use that time to sort of become more independent, more confident, and then are let out into the world of real, big classes and all that. So that has a lot going for it, which a lot of people don't realize because Anthony, and this is for you, like FIC, like why again, like we tried to answer it, but a lot of people, there is this whole stigma associated with, oh, is it a college? Like I don't want to go. Why can't I go directly to Simon Fraser and all that? So what do you have to say to those?
Yeah, great question. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let's jump into this one because I think it is so important. For myself, when I talk about FIC, in my mind, it just makes sense that it is almost part of SFU. It's that integrated. So you're not missing out on anything that you would get from SFU. And the other thing is SFU has such great rankings that it is extremely competitive to get into. Example, if you don't have math in your A levels, you're not going directly to SFU. It's just not going to happen. FIC gives you that option. Now, within that, we're not some college that is just going to let you ease by and sleep in and just make it to SFU second year. We are really an extension of SFU in an academic sense. You're going to be held to the level of SFU, but you're going to get more support. And I'm going to let Aryan talk about that support. Our job at FIC and the way we think about ourselves is that we want you to actually outperform the international students who went directly to SFU. And the way we're going to do that is by giving you that support of small classes, making sure you understand how to be successful. Because yes, you can learn to swim by just being pushed into a pool, and that's fine, you might swim. It's going to be uncomfortable. You can also learn to swim by standing beside someone and having them teach you. And that's FIC. And yeah, you're going to make it to the deep end of SFU and you're going to rock it. But that's because we're standing beside you for that first period. We're making sure you're comfortable, you're enjoying it, and you're doing it right. And you're actually going to do much, much better. When we talk about co-op, we set you up amazingly well because we're going to teach you at FIC what co-op employers are looking for. And we're going to give you opportunities to get that volunteer experience. When we talk about academics and plagiarism is massive in Canada. If you plagiarize once, even if it's on like a 6-page or 10-page paper, done. You got 0 on that paper. That's how serious it is. But at FIC, we're not going to come and be like yelling at you because you plagiarized. We're going to pull you aside and say, do you understand what happened? Do you understand where you went wrong? And we're going to work with you to make sure that this doesn't massively impact your grade. We're going to make
So the
sure
way
you
I
have
see it is,
opportunity.
FIC sort of allows it's like a very beautiful training program to sort of bridge the gap between a student who has never lived independently, never experienced Western education, and then like sort of make a smooth transition into that kind of an environment, right? Aryan,
Yes.
I guess that will bring me to you.
Yeah.
What's your story? Like, what were you doing in Bangladesh? What did you study there? And what made you apply to Canada? Of all the universities, what made you apply to FIC? And, how has your journey been?
So, just I would like to talk about the question you asked, Anthony, because that's very dear to me as well, in a sense that why FIC is so equally on standards with SFU and why everything matters, in a sense. Because as coming from a country such as Bangladesh and not finishing high school, every student who comes here when they finish their high school from international country, there's always a sense of not knowing enough, right? You always come here, you feel like I know enough, I'm going to do something, I'm ready for this. But then once you come here, you hit the ground running and you don't know what you're going to do. I feel like I had a very good safety net in that way, because when I first came here, I didn't know, I didn't know that I didn't know what I wanted to study, right? I thought, okay, I was going to do this. I felt like I had my life planned. I was like, yeah, I know what I'm going to do, I'm going to do whatever it is. But life is not like that. There's so many things that you don't know but you think but when you come here you realize that no, that wasn't the way I should have gone, or I shouldn't have done things that way, because it could either a cost a lot more time, or b it could cost a lot more money, in a sense, if I'm having to stay back longer. If When I came to FIC, it gave me the flexibility to test out the waters, to try out different things, to experiment with how SFU would look like, right? And without any repercussions. When I was there, I was able to try out different degrees. I told you I came to study business, and then it ended up being a minor, even though I was so sure that it's going to be a major for me. But I found out that as communications is exactly what I wanted to study. It's what I'm good at. It's what I do best at. And it is also the reason why I get awards and scholarships from SFU. It's because FIC taught me to know exactly what to go for. It taught me my strengths, and it taught me the different aspects in way university life works. It's essentially I got into SFU, and I hit the ground running, and I'm doing better than anyone else who is in SFU already right now, and going about their studies the same as me.
So that's a very good point, because you came through the FIC process, where actually, like for example, students who join SFU directly would have done a 2-year A-level on top of their O-levels and then joined, whereas you were able to finish your O-levels and then join, a 1-year UDP Stage 1 program, which allowed you to not only go ahead of your friends, because while they're finishing their A-levels, you're already in your second year, but at the same time, do better at your studies through that, right?
For sure. That's exactly
and discovering what you want to be in that process, in that journey.
I feel like every student who comes from Bangladesh, they always get conditioned into this sense of like when they're in the O-level system, it's such a very rigid system. They go like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and then you need to go to university. They make it sound as if your life is already planned, but education and life does not work like that. Once you come here, you go, oh, whatever I learned is not working out. I need to figure that out. And people come here and then they try to figure it out. But it's with any sort of university, right? Because as you go to an international place, you start learning and you start actually career building. I feel like with FIC, I had an additional help, sort of mentor who's at the background going like, okay, if you do this, this is what's going to result in. So I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to do. And then, or like what you want to do. It's more like it advised me into the paths I needed to go and made the best outcome that could come from SFU.
So you have during your talks mentioned you opened a Pandora's box, which is scholarship. So we have questions about that, but we will get to that later on. First of all, Anthony, if somebody wants to get into the UDP Stage 1 program or Stage 2 program, what is the entry requirement for students from Bangladesh? Be it A-levels or HSC background?
Yeah, so with really our entry requirements, they're pretty straightforward and they don't change. So what you see on our website is what you get. For UTP Stage 1, we're looking for 4 O-level grades, and they should be C's or above. Okay. Now, when we're talking about UTP Stage 2, we're looking now for really 2 A-levels, and they need to be in academic subjects. For some of our programs, we will have a requirement of mathematics, but even with that, a student can actually complete those mathematic requirements in our FIC programs and continue on. So it gives you a lot more flexibility. HSC, again, majority of our requirements are going to be 65% or higher, but really 65. As long as you get 65, you're into FIC.
So that's a very good point. So basically, with HSC, you need to have a 65%, and you can get into the FIC UDP Stage 2. And for O-levels, I believe you need a minimum of 4 or 5 subjects between 4 subjects with grades of D. C, grades of C and above to get into the UDP Stage 1. And for UDP Stage 2, if you're looking into a business program, for example, you need 2 subjects that are C and above.
C and above. That's it. And as long as they're academic, we'll take them. So we're not too worried that, oh, you came through this stream or you have these 2 courses. Don't worry about that. Because again, we know that you're a young person, you're figuring out your life. We're going to help you get into that program that you're looking for. It's simple.
Okay, so what kind of extracurricular activities can student experience when they're studying at FIC?
I think Aryan is actually the best
Yeah.
person to answer this one.
So,
Aryan.
I'm a huge fan of volunteering and doing a lot of work other than my studies because I believe in building your expertise in other things because studies is only one part of your education or your degree, right? And so with FIC, I can and be proud to say that I've taken part in every volunteer program that there is. In a sense, and I have done the orientation program. I've done UCC Universal Case Competition program. I am part of the FIC marketing internship slash mentorship program at the moment, and so I have been a part of everything that works out. I feel like FIC does its best to make sure to have volunteering programs which can be suited with SFU as well. So in a sense, when I first came to FIC, I was in the student orientation program. And I was meeting a lot of people. I was at the same time mentoring a few people when they were coming into FIC. I was teaching them about the different lifestyles that you experience in Vancouver and how the study is. And I slowly built my way up to being a senior leader in the program over there. With the marketing program, which I'm currently working with Anthony, as well as other marketing managers, I get to learn how a business works. And to be able to do that as a student is something very, very different, and it's very special in a sense. Because when I'm even at SFU, you would understand, like, I wouldn't be having this opportunity if I was in SFU per se, because SFU has so many students and so many people. It's so competitive at the same time. I feel like I have an extra added list of extra connections from FIC who enable me to get positions and jobs, and then recommendations and other aspects, which is a very big added bonus. I feel like, I can be proud if I go like, I know these people and I know these connections to help it out. And I think that is the biggest part of FIC. We talk about volunteering, we talk about how it can add to our resume, how it can get better. But the best bit or the main part about all of this is the community that it builds. Because through community and the second home that I found at FIC, these volunteering and these recommendations, these networks come through. And so the community is what I value more than the volunteering experiences, because these last a lifetime, right?
That's a very good answer, Aryan, for extracurricular activities. Now let's talk about costs. I mean, education is expensive. So, what does it cost to become a student of FIC?
Mm-hmm. So it's going to cost you around $32,000 Canadian for UTP Stage 2. UTP Stage 1 is going to be less. It's going to be around $20,000 Canadian for those 8 months. And really that Stage 2 cost, that $32,000, will continue throughout your years at SFU. There'll be minor changes as inflation goes along. But when we think of that number and the rankings, it's extremely competitive. It is actually very cheap compared to its rankings, especially if you start comparing.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of rankings you mentioned, if you looked at some US universities, you're probably looking at, 30 to 40,000 US dollars, whereas, you're talking about Canadian dollars. And the other thing is for Bangladeshi students, because the Taka has been doing strong, though it's changing a little bit now, I see. 30,000 Canadian dollars is basically 20 lakh Taka. So that's one thing to consider. And of course, you have the whole added advantage of you've got the co-op programs which allow you to work while you're studying. So I think you can spend about a year of your 4 years working. So that and these are paid kind of internships, so you can recover quite a bit of money through that. And also the $20,000 for FIC stage 1, which is basically like right after your O-levels. If you're doing A-levels in Bangladesh, for example, between your school fees, having a driver drive you around to different tuitions and things like that, it gets expensive, but more importantly, it gets very stressful. Whereas you can manage that stress, and the cost is 14 lakhs, which is a lakh per month. So in terms of tuition fees. Now, some questions from audience. Please elaborate about the scholarship opportunities if someone applies to the UTP Stage 1 or 2. that was going to come anyway.
Yeah. I think Arian opened that door, so we'll blame scholarship questions on him.
That door was already open.
I don't think that door ever
Arian just
closes.
threw it out of the.
Yeah. Scholarships. Right now, FIC has 2 scholarships. One is for May, one is for September. And really, there are 2 scholarships because of when they are being awarded, but we actually have a lot of scholarships within them. As long as you have a B in your O levels or 6.5, no band below 6 in IELTS, you're eligible to be applying for a $2,000 scholarship. And again, we have some for May. We also have some for September. And there are some requirements, like you have to post on Instagram about why you're excited to study in FIC or Vancouver. But really, I've made them flexible so that every single student who has those English requirements should be able to apply and should be eligible to try and grab one of those scholarships for themselves.
Another very relevant question is about COVID. So what's going on during COVID? When do you plan on opening for face-to-face? What's the deal with that? Because I get it that right now, people are doing online classes, right? Are you in the campus right now, or like what's going on?
I'm living in the residence dorms right now at the moment in SFU.
But your classes are still online.
Yes, they're online. But SFU just announced that we'll be going into in-person in fall.
Woo!
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a parent, and I've got 3 kids, and they were studying from home for quite some time. Oh no! That's not the way to go. Especially, when you're, and also like for foreign education, obviously, where you have so much investments in mind to get the whole campus experience. I mean, face to face. So that's great. So SFU is opening its campus doors in September. That's fantastic news because a lot of universities have announced that even next year they're going to do off campus. So you heard it from us. If you go to SFU or FIC, you can go directly on campus. So that's a fantastic news. Now the question is for Aryan. How was the transition of moving there, and how did you deal with the homesickness?
So I came here in summer of 2018. It was a great big difference from where I was. I'm from a very small country. I'm coming from Bangladesh, and the culture is very different, right? So you kind of feel like, it's gonna be cool, and I'm trying to make do of it because before this, I haven't been to I didn't live in North America, right? I've visited a couple of places, and visiting and being a tourist is very different from actually living there because you start to live with the people, you start to understand how they work, and I feel like being Canada, was one of the most hospitable and easiest way to kind of experience and learn, right? Because everybody's so nice. They try to accommodate your feelings. So if you are not feeling comfortable, they'll try their best to make you feel at home. And so in a sense, when I did come here and I made a lot of new international friends, I didn't feel like I was missing out or something, or I didn't feel like I was alone. Because there were so many people around. I could talk to people. I could talk from people from my community, and obviously I visit my parents. Like when COVID wasn't there, I used to go every year, twice every year. So that was one big thing as well. I feel like traveling is very simple from Canada, and the way they make it, the system it's very easy to go back and then come back. So I feel like I didn't miss out on anything. I didn't have to miss home as much as they say, because I was able to always be in connection with my parents, and the community, the Bengali community here is quite big. I would say even in FIC and SFU, and sometimes I also when I go to these events, I go like, wait, am I back in Bangladesh? Yeah.
That's another interesting thing because a lot of people could feel like they will be missing. So there is a huge Bangladeshi community.
Yeah.
Of course, there is one in Toronto, but there is also a very big Bangladeshi community in Vancouver. So when you miss home, really, what you're missing is your Bangladeshi food, your Bangladeshi culture, people.
It's always the food
That's something you
and
can
my
get.
parents.
And I think there's a strong association as well. Like, Bangladeshi students, they have a big group together and they can assist newcomers, right?
Yeah, we have
I
basically.
So the next question is, I'd like to know the requirements for students coming from Bangladesh. I think you've already covered that. This one is a hard one, probably, Tony, you can answer. I have an IELTS of overall 5.5 with no band less than 5.5, whereas it is required to have overall 6 with no band less than 5.5. Can I get a direct entry too?
Unfortunately, no.
I think the person answered the question.
Based on your IELTS, no. Now, if you have O levels, let us know, and we'll look at those. If you have an O levels B grade in English, we can use that. IELTS, I definitely recommend you to have higher IELTS because it also will help in your visa processing. But our English requirements are quite strict.
Okay, so basically you can do IELTS, you can do Duolingo, you can do any of those English tests, but I mean you would probably be advised to retake that because I think that's something you have to understand that when you're going into a university to study, the university being flexible is not really helping you because remember, you're going to be studying in English, and if you cannot understand, the reason you've got the lower score is probably because your English level is not there. So if your results suffer because you don't understand English or you can't write to a level, you're spending all that money, and that's wasted because you're not able to cope with the pressure. So there are institutions that would be more lenient with the IELTS. I'll be very suspicious to go into them, honestly, because they're not helping anybody by admitting you to a program which you don't meet the requirements for. The next question is about custodianship. I know this question comes up, like if somebody is less than 18 or whatever, do you assist to arrange custodianship for under 18 students?
Yeah, of course. We work with 2 amazing different organizations, and they handle that. So we like them, we trust them, we've worked with them since we've been in existence. If you're 18 years or younger in British Columbia, you're considered a minor, a child. And so these companies will get you that custodianship. You'll be looked after, but not in a way that this person's going to act like a third parent. They're really just going to work alongside you and make sure things are comfortable and straightforward.
Okay, that's a good question. Are students getting jobs even during this COVID situation going on? So I guess the person is talking about part-time jobs, but maybe you can talk a little bit about part-time jobs as well as after graduation, because students have been graduating through this time, right?
Yeah, they have been, and so there's always nerves about that because at the end of the day, we go to university to get that job. And I mean, the quality of SFU, the co-op program, and I want to highlight that 12 months of work experience when you graduate, and you're going to do it broken into 3 different opportunities. So 4 months, 4 months, 4 months, that shines through. COVID makes it difficult, life makes it difficult, but quality will always shine through. So our students are still getting jobs because, again, Vancouver is a hot job market. And then we have that quality education and set up for you. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. And Aryan, I believe you're actually working part-time these days.
Yeah, so it's funny because I have more jobs during COVID than I had before COVID. it's weird because even when it was before COVID, I was just working one part-time job. After COVID, I shifted jobs to another company. I work at a hat store currently as a key holder there. I also am looking for jobs in co-op right now, and there's an immense number of jobs that are available at the moment. I'm hopefully going to be working in co-op this summer. if that comes through. And then I'm also volunteering and helping out in the mentorship program with FIC. So I've been very busy, I would say, as of late. But these are all adding to my resume, and these are all very good, effective opportunities which I can present to my future employer, right? Because most people, when they come here, when they talk about part-time jobs, they always go like, "Oh, I'm just going to do the job because I need to gain money or something." But the job opportunities that are available here, they not only add to financial help, but they also add to your resume, which you can later use when finding a proper job after graduation.
This is a really, really good answer, and one that I certainly, it resonates with a lot of people. And thank you for sharing that for us. I really wanted to share another thing. One of our viewers is Miss Farhana Lohani Hassan, and her son is actually joining stage 2, and in the fall semester. So she said, "Thank you so much for the information. My son just got admitted in stage 2. Maces helps a lot. Special thanks to Maksuda. Maksuda is our branch manager in our Dhanmondi branch. So thank you so much, madam, for those nice, beautiful words." Shadab asks, so Shadab is, "Hello, Anthony. It's nice seeing you again on live. We met last year at the Daily Star's office during Mace's education seminar. I had a quick question. How expensive is housing in Vancouver? Say, after graduation, if I were to look for a place to live, what would be your advice?" Oh,
Wow.
That's a hard question, I guess.
That's a hard question, but that's why FIC is here. We're going to break down those hard questions, make them simple so that you can really just focus on education and also just enjoy life. I think that's important. I would first also like to say a big shout out to Farhana and her son.
And her son is Soban Ibn Hassan.
There we go. You need to apply for that scholarship. If you don't have the information, tell Rohan. We'll get it for you, but make sure to apply. When it comes to housing, though, yeah, there's so many different options. There's SFU residence. You need to apply early for SFU residence. $50 application fee. You don't even have to accept your letter of offer yet, but it's first come, first serve. So apply early if you even are thinking of that one. The other thing I would say is if you're not looking for that, then we should look at homestay or GEC, kind of a private residence off campus. The reasons I talk about these ones are because everything's standardized, and the first time you come into Vancouver, as Aryan said, it's a new country, it's a new city, it's a new system, everything is new. Let's make sure that the first experience you have for those 4 months, you can just focus on living and enjoying. And really, the housing costs won't change much. We're looking probably at a living cost of around $15,000 to $18,000 Canadian per year. Okay. After your first semester in either homestay, SFU residence, GEC, whatever it is, move out, move in with friends. Figure out where you want to live. That's up to you. The housing costs will stay, again, $15,000 to $18,000 per year.
Also, if I could jump in real quick, if you're coming to FIC, SFU in general in Canada, when you're coming here, I would highly recommend you live in the residence dorms in your first semester. You are not going to regret it.
This is very important. I can certainly vouch for it. When I was an international student 25 years ago, I certainly lived a year there, and some of the best memories I made. And again, we have students from different family backgrounds, from different financial background, and honestly, the amount of money people spend tends to fluctuate quite a bit. I mean, we have students who spend $800 a month. We have students who are spending $4,000, $5,000 a month just on rent. And so, you can understand that it's a very wide range, and some people are just, they're going to do what they're going to do. But on an average, I think the very good number is anywhere between $1,200 to $1,500. You can live comfortably with the on-campus system there. This question, I think this is the last question we're going to take. We're already, we've run over quite a bit. Can I skip a semester if I achieve a high GPA in my stage 2? I guess no, but I mean, I'll let you answer that, Tony.
No, unfortunately not. If you do that in stage 1, yes. If you do really well in stage 1 in your first semester, you can actually skip the second semester and just go directly into stage 2. With stage 2, it's equivalent to first year university. So what that means is you have to complete those 10 academic courses to transfer into Simon Fraser University for that second year. So there's no shortcuts, and there are never any shortcuts to excellence in life. You need to do things properly.
So we've come to the end of our show. It's been I learned a lot. And I will come back to you, Tony. But, again, at Maces, we have been helping students to apply to FIC, to get their visa done for quite a few years now. And I must say, and this is not saying that, we are a perfect agency, but, we have helped quite a few and we have very strong experience. We don't charge any fees. And that also means we pre-screen you. I mean, we cannot take every student who walks through our doors. If if a student comes in through our doors and says, "Can you show our finances? Can you show our bank statement, our tax?" I mean, there are agency which does that in Bangladesh, and honestly, we find it extremely unethical and very alarming because genuine students with the funds they're going to suffer later on once the embassies figure out that there are these things happening. So we will pre-screen you before we take your application because we don't take any fees from you. We want to make sure you are successful in your application. Now, there is no fees. Please come to us. You can message us on Facebook. You can email us at mail@masonbuddy.com. You can also call us at 017-5566-0012. And I hope you will be joining Aryan and his team soon. Okay, so any last words, Anthony, before we let this go?
Yeah, of course. I always have more to say, Rohan. I want to thank you guys for watching us. I want to thank you. These questions that you asked were fantastic. I think they are so important to start asking those questions now. And as a representative of FIC, I will always do my best to answer your questions, to make sure that you are comfortable, because that's what we do. We want you to be successful. And we're partnered with Simon Fraser University. Look it up. It is an amazing opportunity. It's got the rankings, it's got the location, it's got the co-op program. Really, everything you're looking for is there. But speak to Rohan. His team is amazing. Anytime I go into their office, it really is walking into a family environment. And that culture is so friendly and warm that I know you guys are being taken care of. And the fact that he admits that, they are making a few mistakes, but really, I've also seen us put in 12-hour days, 14, 16-hour days to make sure their students are taken care of. I think that's a big testimony to their quality and why I love working with Maces.
Thank you so much, Anthony. I mean, I am so honored and so happy to be working with you, and especially FIC. We have hundreds of students who've gone there, and they've had such a great life, great time. Aryan, any last words, any advice for people who are going to be joining FIC?
Well, thank you, Rohan, for having me today, and thank you, Maces. I really enjoyed it, and also the different people who joined us today. Thank you for the questions. And my advice is, whatever you do when you join, start early. Finish everything early on because time is of the essence. And that's something I learned when I came here to Canada. When you want to do something, start early, keep information early, and stay in contact with us. If you want to join us, I also sometimes drop in with Anthony for our drop-in sessions on Monday. Just reach out to us and we can have a whole live session where you can talk to me, Anthony, and another colleague that I have who's an alumni with me. Her name is Dia, and we can both answer your questions and talk about how student life here is.
Once again, thank you so much to everybody who joined today. We went over 1 hour. Normally, we go about 30 to 40 minutes. So, thank you for those who listen patiently and ask the question. And we will see you again soon through another of these sessions.